And record. Okay, so we're
And I
practicum
apologize
2.
in advance if you hear my son. He's trying to go to sleep.
Oh,
Okay,
My husband's taking care of it, but
no worries. Okay, so we're practicum 2 with our older students.
okay. So I have an 8th grade student named Angel. I gave her the past first. Her highest level that she got correct was level L, which is the advanced phoneme level. And then her highest level that was automatic was level I, which is in the basic phoneme section. She got 45 out of 52 words correct and 38 out of 52 words automatic. For the WIST, there was the word identification. Her word identification was in the 3rd percentile, which is poor. And that was for regular, that's for regular and irregular words. She read 69 regular words out of 100 and only but she read all 30 irregular words. For the WIST, for spelling, her percentile rank was 1, which is very poor. She spelled 31 out of 100 words correct, and for regular words, and 18 out of 30 irregular words. You put those two together to make the fundamental literacy ability index, which was the 1st percentile, very poor. And then her sound symbol knowledge is average with a percentile rank of 34. So she had that's where it just has the pseudo words. She read 35 out of 50 pseudo words correctly, and then 72 out of 105 letter sounds. And we were both happy with her letter sounds because she's in my reading remediation class, and I've kind of copied the model of UFly for this group that isn't using UFly. But I'm doing like final stable syllables and other parts of words that are kind of in some of those longer words that they see. And so we go over TURE spells chur. And so she knew those from our visual drill. So that was just a side note. Okay, so that's the past and the WIST. For the GORT, her rate was in the 16th percentile, which was below average to average. Her accuracy was in the 9th percentile. Her fluency, which is a combination of the rate and accuracy, it was in the 9th percentile. And her comprehension was in the 9th percentile. And so all 3 of those were poor to below average. And then the oral reading index was 7th percentile, which is poor to below average. Few more details about the GORT. 40 out of the 25 errors that I analyzed, 41% of them were graphic phonemic similarity, 22% were function similarity, 11% were self-corrections, and 6% were meaning similarity. So most of them were graphic phonemic similarity, and a lot of them, I would say probably off the top of my head, like 50-50 were real word substitutions, and the other half were just mispronunciations that weren't real words. Let's see. her writing sample was interesting. So I kind of looked at there were two parts to the rubric. There's like the content part of the rubric and the style part of the rubric. So she got 13 out of 16. The way I scored her, she got 13 out of 16 points on the content part of the rubric. And then 17 out of 32 points on the style part of the rubric. So for content, she was pretty good at the central idea and unity. She was really focused on the topic at hand, but her weakness was elaboration. She didn't give a lot of details. It was very like basic. And then her style, her strengths were usage and sentence formation. The writing was very clear. You could understand everything she was writing. Her sentences weren't super varied, but like when they were varied, she was using mostly correct punctuation. She had in punctuation in the correct places. Her weaknesses were vocabulary, tone, and voice. And so that really went like her weakness on the content and her weakness on the style were pretty overlapping. The reason that she had a weakness in elaboration is she wasn't using good vocabulary. She wasn't giving a lot of details about the characters. She was just kind of listing actions that happened. Let's see. For her learning goals, I have not written these down, so I may stumble over these, but for her learning goals, one of them is to improve her decoding of multisyllabic words by working on things like syllable division. And then the other will be to improve her comprehension through things like vocabulary and different question strategies. And I do not, I'm still thinking about the third one, but that will be the main overview. And then for progress monitoring, I don't this isn't cheating, but I am going to be, I'm not progress monitoring her when I'm tutoring. I'm going to be progress monitoring her in my class because I already progress monitor with Dibble's ORF and Maze. I alternate those every other week. So 1 week I'll do ORF and 1 week I'll do Maze. So I already have progress monitoring data with her, and I'll just continue using the same thing and using that as progress monitoring.
Sounds good. Great. Yeah. I'll give it a 5. You are very thorough.
Thank you.
So what kind of classroom are you a reading specialist, like have a small group or?
Yeah, I'm the reading interventionist at my school, and the way that my district does it at the middle school level is there's not a couple middle schools do like a pull-out schedule, but most of us are considered an elective teacher. So the students have 2 electives every semester. And so if they have to be in reading, they have to be in reading instead of, PE or art or whatever. So I actually have 6 classes, and they are small groups, but we meet every day. So I have 12 or fewer students in each class.
Neat. Okay.
Okay, that's cool. That's nice that they do that
Yeah.
for that.
Any other
Before we
questions?
go-
Anyone want to go next? I can go next, or anyone?
Do we want to, okay, do we want to tell who our group leader is before we, sorry,
Who's
the
the group
group
leader?
it doesn't matter to me. It says the group leader will record the meeting, so as
Okay,
long
I'm
as it's
recording
okay.
it.
If you don't want to be, we can pick somebody
No,
else.
that's okay. I don't, yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
Um,
as long as you're comfortable, that's,
Yep.
yeah.
That's no problem. Okay. Well, I can jump in and go next. So I have Elena. She is in 4th grade. And we are using the Barton reading and spelling system. So she's been doing that for a while. So she's in level 6. So if you know anything about that, it kind of progresses as they get older. So just about some of her scores, the GORT, she got average in everything in her rate, accuracy, fluency, but the comprehension was below average. So her oral reading index was also below average in the 23rd percentile. So we are going to work on comprehension, and that's something she's kind of always struggled with since I've been working with her. So but her miscues also, the graphic phonemic similarity were her highest level of miscues. Just kind of reading words that look similar. But the other ones were pretty low, so that was good. All right, and then let's see, her expression, volume, phrasing, smoothest pacing. She has pretty good oral reading fluency. So, I scored her at a 3 or 4 on almost everything with that. And let's see, the WIST, she was in the average range for everything. Her lowest thing was the spelling and the sound symbol knowledge, which was kind of surprising to me, for being a 4th grader, but those sounds threw her off. If there was more than one, I'm like, do you know any other sounds for that? She just got really thrown off by that. So I got the old flashcards back out that you used to drill her on, and because I haven't done that for a while, so I'm like, we're pulling these back out to make sure she's got them and could tell me, what all the sounds are for E or whatever. So let's see. Yeah, that's her spelling. Yeah, her spelling was also kind of her lower um area, so we'll work on that as well. She just had no confidence when she did not know it. She even circled ones that she knew she got wrong. So on the past, she did fairly well, but we've been working on that for several years. So she still needs a little help with level L and then M. L, she was at 3 out of 5, and then M, she was 2 out of 5. So we'll keep working on that as well. Her writing sample was very, very basic. And she was, she did not need the 30 minutes. She was done in about 10. And I was like, do you want to write anything else? But she did not give much detail. And it was all over the place. So that is something I would like to work on her with her as well. So all right, and her goals that we'll work on, I'd like to work on her pacing using some fluency drills and some repeated readings. And then her spelling, the Barton has a scope and sequence, so we'll just kind of follow that. Just to make sure she's picking up on what she's learning. And then comprehension is a big one that I want. We've already started kind of in our first few sessions that I'll give her a passage, prompt her with some background knowledge, ask her what she knows about it, and we go over some vocabulary, and then but she has a really hard time retelling what something's about. So we're gonna work on that. And then I give her, kind of like the Gort, I'm making up questions because in the Barton reading and spelling, there's not questions that come with it, but I've been going through all the stories or passages and making up questions, some that are specific that she has to know, like there's whatever, 2 characters and this is what happened, but then some that kind of make her think too. So, and then her 4th goal, I wanted to just keep working on the phonemic awareness because she is in 4th grade, so I'd like to have her have that past mastered. Let's see, and for progress monitoring, we're gonna use repeated readings and use fluency drills. Oops, bumped something on my computer. There we go. And then well, like I said, we're gonna use spelling. We'll use the scope and sequence and just monitor her spelling. And then we'll monitor her comprehension, just keeping data on how she's doing on those questions. But I think her getting used to me asking those and being ready for it, I think that's going to really help her. And then I'll keep data on her on the past using Kilpatrick's 1-minute drills. So I think that's everything. Any questions about Elena?
Do you have her in 4th grade? Do you teach 4th grade?
I'm a reading teacher as well. So
awesome.
I teach, so I have kids with dyslexia kind of all day. So I have her, she comes to me twice a week. So, yep. So that's kind of what we'll do. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, I get a vote of 5. I think that was
You did.
great.
Good job.
All right. Okay. Who's ready?
I can go next. Okay. My student's a little different. My student's name is Jacob, and he is actually in 12th grade. He is autistic. So he had to repeat 1st grade, and he is in 12th grade now, but he's 19. So he and he's going through the work progress, like so that he can learn to go into a job when he leaves his school. He goes to a specialized autistic academy, like where they work with that and getting them out in the world. So he's working part of the time right now at Goodwill. And so all of my things are going to be geared towards helping making sure that the things that the skills that he needs to be able to be successful at the job he's going to be doing is going to help him. So when I did all of his testing, like his BORT, everything was very poor to poor. He was scoring age equivalents of like 8 years old, and like the rate accuracy was a 9-year-old, comprehension was a 6-year-old, fluency was an 8-year-old. So everything as far as that was really low. So his comprehension, I think maybe how many questions he got? I think 3 of the comprehension questions of everything that he read to me, he could only answer 3 of the passage or 3 of the questions. And wow. He read 8 stories to me. So he can read the passages. He did fairly well when he was reading it. Like he missed words, but he was very confident when he was reading, but he had absolutely no clue whatsoever about what he was reading. He could, if I went back and let him with the passages after he read it and he couldn't answer the questions, he could go back into the story and find the answers. But to verbally tell me, he had no idea what was going on. And that's one of the things that I want to work on with him is the comprehension. When we did we did really well with spelling. We got to 74 words of writing before he hit his 5 max. So he was up to words like autobiography. He was getting most of those. So he's able to hear the sounds. It's just some of the patterns that are different that have multiple ways to write it was his sticking point in reading and writing those words. He had all of the irregular words spelled correctly. He knew how to spell those, so they must really have worked with him to get those at school. Reading, he did fairly well on it. The ones that he missed, he would miss a sound, and I think one was like union, and he said onion or something like it was like that type of word. I'm trying to find my papers. I had them all here, and but when I scored him, like his closed syllable words, he got 50 out of 67 out of his possible points for those. Like the vowel, consonant, ease, he's 9 out of 12. So he did fairly well with the words that he was doing. It's just working with them. When we did the sound symbol knowledge, he would only give me one. If there was multiple ones, he's like, nope, there's no more. It was like, and that's just, I think he knew more, but with his disability, he's just like, I'll give you one and I'm going to give you. And then when we did the story, I gave him the picture. He chose the one with there was the fire in the tree and they were calling the police to come. And he was very literal. Like the tree's on fire. The dog is tied. Like there was no elaboration. He didn't turn it into a story. It was just, he looked at what he saw and then he literally wrote a sentence about every little thing that he saw. So he never turned it into a story. It was just details. And then he didn't elaborate. Like he didn't tell me it was a red car or a white dog with spots. It was just the dog is tied. So, and then with the past, level D and E, he didn't get any of those right. But then I was like, well, let me try some more. So I went to the onset rhyme. And then once he did the first one and didn't get it right, and I gave him the example, like, okay, so do this. And then he was able to do those. So I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of went on just to see how far he could go. So he got the onset rhyme ones, but then after that, he couldn't hear the sounds. He just kept telling me the same word over and over. He couldn't figure out how to change anything. And then I think that was the four of them. So what I want to work with him on is when he is at any of the, like if he's going to stay with Goodwill, he will have to be able to read directions and he'll have to be able to comprehend what the directions are telling him. So my goal is to really focus on comprehension as part of his learning plan. And he also might be asked to write description cards about what he has to put out or what the clothes look like that he was working with that day. So I want to work on him being able to elaborate his sentences and be more detailed and be able to describe things so that people understand that, okay, I didn't put this piece of clothing out because it was unwashed or, it was dirty, that he can actually describe the things that he needs to be able to do to be successful at the job that he's going to. The other things like in spelling, I want to go back in and think about things that he will have to write and make sure that he knows those patterns. Is he going to have to write huge words that he's going to have to be able to write multi-syllabic words that are like autobiography? No. But is he going to have to be able to write, describe color words and actions and things like that? He'll have to know those. So my kind of plan is to use UFly as for the comprehension part, but also tie in the words to that. So, and I found with UFly, somebody on TPT has comprehension questions. So that's kind of how I'm going to use to kind of gauge him as how he's learning it so that we're going to start out small. We're going to go back, first grade comprehension and just kind of work with that. So he kind of gets that knowledge of how to pull it out so that he can use it for his work job that he's doing. So it's kind of different. Like I talked to Dr. Riley about it, and she's like, it's going to be difficult for you, and for him, and we kind of have to tailor what we're doing based on what he needs versus what if it would have been a 4th grader or an 8th grader in just a normal gen ed track. So that's why my stuff's a little different.
Yeah, he has
Fascinating.
just classic traits of someone on the spectrum with reading, like the almost hyperlexia kind of a situation. So
yes,
that's really interesting.
Yeah. And I just want to, I mean, he's to the point now where, and he's kind of set in his ways and he doesn't want to change the things. And I had to, like, his teacher at school, he was telling me, he's like, I only work for Miss Chelsea. And I'm like, but I'm going to be your teacher for this. You have to work with me. So we have to kind of work on that dynamic too. So I just want to help him be able to be successful in his job that he's going to go into.
Is he one of your students in like a resource room or your classroom or?
No, I'm actually a 1st grade teacher.
Oh.
He's a friend's son.
Okay.
And so I've been friends with them for a while, and they were talking to me because the school that he goes to told them that he's on a 6th grade reading level, and they would like for him to be able to have more comprehension because of what they're trying to teach him to do as his work study places. Because like right now it's Goodwill, but it may change. He has 2 more years in the program, so it could change, but that's kind of what they're thinking of the area of a job that he's going to be working at, just somewhere that like the nonprofits that will hire autistic people to come in and work for them. So that's what I'm going to try to do as much as I can, is to help him further those skills so that he can succeed at what he can do. So
that's awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that is awesome. I'm excited to see how it goes though.
I am too.
Yes, I give it a 5 too.
Oh,
very good.
Okay.
All right. Is the baby sleeping or the 2-year-old sleeping?
No,
oh gosh.
he's still trying to get him down, but he's very much a mama's boy, so when I'm not there, it doesn't go very well. I am going to read from my report that I did, but I have a 4th grade student. His name is Eric. I'm a 1st grade teacher, so it's very new to me to be working with 4th grade. I taught kinder and 1st. I've never taught anything older than that, so it's new. Yeah. So on the past assessment, he didn't even get past the 1st basic syllable level. He would break the words apart, especially when it was like, he could break the compound words apart, but he couldn't break, like silver. He said sill. Without sill, it's he wouldn't say ver. So he can't hear the sounds in like the blended syllables. So I went back all the way to compound words to build on that strength. And then I'm slowly introducing like how to break apart words that are kind of blended together, not compound. On the GORT 5 for his rate score, he was in the 25th percentile, so below average. Accuracy for the GORT was 16th percentile, which was below average. Fluency 16th percentile, which is below average. And comprehension was also the 16th percentile. In all of those, it was very consistent. He just across the board has a difficult time with everything. Every score that I got on all of the assessments was below average or below average. Word ID, he got on the WIST word ID, he got 18th percentile, so that was below average. Spelling, he got 4. WIST. So the fundamental literacy ability index was the 9th percentile, so below average for the WIST. And sound syllable knowledge was the 19th percentile, below average. And then the writing, he's very similar to Terry's kiddo, where he literally just listed what was happening in the picture. He didn't, and there was not proper punctuation. It was all, like, the spacing was not there. Capital letters were not there. It was just very inconsistent. And so for that, I'm going back to the basic sentence level. Going back to the WISP, the syllable types that he got the most incorrect on was closed syllables. So for one of his instructional goals, I jumped back to closed syllables, and I want him to be able to identify what those are. And then as he's able to identify those, I'll move on to different kinds of syllables. But I was like, if you can't, the closed syllable is one of the first ones you learn about. So we need to solidify that. Another goal I have is he'll improve his handwriting using proper capitalization, grammar, and punctuation. Like I said earlier, we're working with 2-syllable words, starting with compound words because that was his strength, and expanding as he gets better. To help develop his ability to hear all the sounds, I have him pushing the sounds in multisyllabic words, especially to help with his ability to write them, because his spelling was poor. Intensive instruction again on syllables and the different types, comprehension within stories, and self-monitoring was a strategy I wanted to teach him because he just reads, and one of his scores was, which one was it? In the GORT, his graphic phonemic similarity was in the 88th percentile for his error rate. So he just looks at a word and completely guesses. He doesn't make sure that it actually makes sense within the story. So my goal is to teach him like how to self-monitor while reading to make sure it actually makes sense instead of just throwing a word that looks similar out there. I'm going to progress monitor him by every other week. I'm going to check in by telling him a sentence to write, so I can check on his writing and his ability to write a sentence, see if his like sentence writing abilities are there. If he gets past that, I want to see if he can write a story with a beginning, middle, and end, just 3 sentences. At the 7-ish week mark, I'm going to give him the pass again to see if he's developed that way. And then at the end, I plan on giving him the GORT 5 and all of those other assessments to see his growth.
The progress monitoring plan was really, really detailed. That was great.
Thank you. It took me a long time to write this. I was like,
Yes. There's so many that I wanted to do more goals, but I'm like, no, let's just rein it in here because I'm like, there's so many things I could work on.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, and that's where I struggled too, because everything in his was low. So it's like, how do I pick just one when they're all the same score?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, will you work with him after school since you're a first grade teacher? Like, okay.
So I'm
Oh.
gonna do both. My practicum 1 student I do before school 3 days a week. And then I do him after school 2 days a week.
Oh my, you're busy. You're
And then
busy.
my Thursday, Fridays have to be open because I'm pregnant and I have to go to my doctor appointments. So
Oh goodness.
yeah, it'll be good. When I'm done, I'm done.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I think
it.
you did awesome.
Yeah, it was very thorough. I'm excited to hear how everybody progresses this semester to see.
I'm
Yeah.
excited
Am I
and
the
nervous too.
am I the only middle school teacher in the group?
Yeah, I'm first.
Yeah, I'm first too.
I have
So
all grades. I have K-8, or we have a
Okay.
K-8 school. So I have
Oh,
some
wow.
middle schoolers, but I don't I chose a 4th grader this time because I knew she'd be there every week or every session, and yeah, so
Yeah, that's important because I had a few kids
yes.
that I could have picked, but I was like, you're gone so inconsistently.
Yeah, yeah,
And I need 25 hours, so I can't do that.
yes. Yeah, and my student was already sick a couple of times right after Christmas. I'm like, oh, no more. Like, this is it.
My second grader for practicum 1, her family got sick, and then I got the flu, and then she got strep. And so it was like,
Oh,
Get it
so
all out of
that's
the way.
why I'm so behind with everything, is I'm like just trying to cram it all in. So like, we can't get sick again.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
allowed.
it.
Oh, but that I
I'm
feel like
exci-
they have to understand too, because life happens.
Yes, yeah.
You can only control so much.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do the PLC with, especially with you in the middle school, because I don't have that perspective at all. So like having you guys watch my videos and comment, like to tell me what is working is what's not, to having that higher perspective. I'm really looking forward to that, because even if I would want to move up into higher grades, just knowing
Or
better
eventually, if you're a reading
do.
specialist doing the higher grades.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've never taught another grade. So
Okay. Those middle schoolers are something. I only work with them one-on-one. I could not have a whole classroom of them, and I would not survive.
The first quarter that I had because the first few weeks of school I was just like, this is my first year in the position, and the previous reading teacher, her philosophy was, here's a book, read it and answer questions. So I was like, I don't even care about her data, we're gonna scrap everything. And so I was just testing kids the first few weeks of school. And so once I got them in my class, my 7th graders just are it's a very challenging class. I had them in 6th grade last year, and they were challenging in 6th grade, and they're still challenging. And so I would go into the library every day at lunch, just like defeated. So it's like, we're finally getting better. Like, we're finally getting to a point where I'm like, okay, my 5th hour class, my 6th graders are the worst part of my day, not my 7th graders anymore. But like, it took a long time to get there. So
oh
yeah.
gosh, bless you. My youngest is in 7th grade, and she tells me stories, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I could go that high.
I love them, but yeah, it's a challenge.
They're a lot. Oh, all right. Did we cover everything? It says discuss any reservations or adjustments. Did we kind of cover that in our talks, that if we had anything to?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Well, I guess we gave all 5. So if we
Yeah.
would have
Yeah, I
had
don't feel like
reservations.
anyone had
Yeah.
any adjustments. I definitely got some ideas, since I haven't like fully written down all my goals. I definitely got some ideas from you guys, so I appreciate that.
Don't do too many.
I know. After hearing you guys talk about writing, I'm like, oh, I should have had a writing goal, but I'm like, we gotta.
Yeah, I've
One
got to
of my
narrow that field.
my kiddo's classroom teacher was like, mainly because he can read. He's not very accurate at it, but he can. So she was like, I'm concerned about writing. So I was like, well, this teacher's I should probably include that. But
Yeah.
if that's the only reason I included it, because I was like, if that's one of the main.
Yeah, I'm like probably not gonna include a writing goal, just because with my students' comprehension, like the last few stories, because you for the GORT you had to get 2 or below to discontinue, and so it took us a while to get to that with her like fluency score. But the last like 4 stories, she was answering 1 or 2 questions correct. On 3 in a row, she answered 0 correct. So it's like, that's where we really need to work on. Like,
Yeah.
yes, we need to work on your multisyllabic words, but like, we really need to work on your comprehension. That's the most important part.
That's what stuck out the most. Yeah.
So
Got it. Well, I appreciate you guys meeting, and
Yes,
go.
is
Yeah.
this time good for everybody for our next one?
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, sorry
Yeah.
that it's so late. I feel
Oh no, that's
bad.
okay. I got
Oh,
all
no.
my, I got the day ready for tomorrow and it's all good. Okay, so I'll send this in. I guess I'll figure out how to put it in an email, I think, and then I'll include it for you guys too. All right, and then we have to write a reflection, is that right, on this?
Yes.
Okay,
A 1 page.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And now last time, Terry, do you remember, like, didn't we have to fill out a Google form they gave us? But haven't seen it this time. Like after we met these PLCs and you had to fill out a Google form and say who showed up and what you guys talked about. Do you remember? Did you have
I
to do
think
that?
Amy
I
sent
didn't
one.
have to with my professor.
Okay, I had
just
Thompson.
had included, I had Sherry Height.
Okay, all
And
right. Well,
so
maybe we
I
don't
think
have to
I
do
just
that.
included it. I just included all that in my reflection
Okay, all right.
kind of thing. So
Okay. I haven't
I
seen
think-
anything like that. But have you guys?
Yeah, I got a link somewhere. I think I got it in an email, but I don't know if it was for class P1 practicum 1 or practicum 2.
Okay. I don't think I've seen it this time around, so maybe we don't have to do it with Dr. Riley. But it was just like 2 or 3 questions. What's your name? What's your email? Who was there? What did you talk about? And then you just sent it in. So,
Got it.
okay.
If I find it, I'll forward it to you guys
okay.
because I don't know if which one it was for.
I,
It's too
oh,
much to keep track of.
I know.
All right. Do we have
Perfect.
anything else?
Just like this isn't this is not important, but just after like doing the assessment class and looking over all the results and trying to figure out a way to like explain what the results are, does anyone else just not like the past very much after that? Because that's how I'm feeling. I did the past and I was like, it doesn't mean anything. I don't know what it means. Maybe
Right,
that's
I
just
literally wrote that he was at the basic syllable level, and that's what I
Yeah.
wrote.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much detail as all the other ones.
And there's not like is it normed? I don't
It's
know.
not normed. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the challenge. So
Yeah. So it can't be like 16th percentile.
right.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was just my
That one was the hardest to talk about because of that.
right. I
Yeah.
don't know how to say I don't know how to describe where she is in comparison to others because
And I didn't because it didn't give me that.
Right.
I just said, well, I kind of did, I guess. I said, according to the past, this is the kindergarten level.
right.
Because it kind of gives you that, but it didn't tell me like in comparison to others their age.
Yeah.
I found it, you guys. It is from Dr. Riley. She for it was from Sunday, January 28th. She sent it to us. It was about module 2. But
Oh.
please use this link instead of the one from the PowerPoint slide. I can
Yep,
forward
I
it.
saw that. I see
Yeah.
that now.
Okay, for it, and just in case. 'Cause I'm like, I don't remember that, but
And I'll open it and see what the link is. Last name of your group leader. So we said Aaron, Lennon.
yep.
Yeah, just last name of the group, your name. How did your group check in? Zoom. All members were present. Everyone participated, yes. Data. And then just it says describe what you discussed.
Okay.
And data goals and